Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. What's up, Campbell? What's up, Mike Stacks? Always great to see you, Mike. What's up, Prestige? What's up, Josh? Great to be in here tonight on this beautiful Friday. Man, we got a week coming, and this isn't going to be a volume betting week for me. I'll tell you that right now. Like, we will have 4 or 5 soccer bets up. 2-0 last week on the soccer. This week with NFL, I think I'm going 2 or 3. And maybe after the show, maybe after the final injury reports, we'll get more clarity. Week 8, I am happy, though. This is the turning point of the season. And I do want to say to the bettors at home, don't get overreactive this week. Like, just because we saw some of the stuff transpire last week, it doesn't mean your reads are off. It doesn't mean your power rankings are off. This is the NFL, and crazy things will happen. My problem with week 7 before we get into week 8 was the gross errors made by officiating crews. Like, we're just talking point blank, lazy, scandalous type misses. And we saw that last night on the Thursday Night Football. If you watched the show on Tuesday, I said I got the Bucs to cover, but I literally had to plead with people not to bet it. I literally got on my proverbial knees and pleaded with people not to bet that game. And I hope I got my point across, because I know a lot of people were really excited about the Bills, but funny, the Bucs had a chance to win the game, and somehow that's not a flag. Like, the Bucs tight end was in a damn bear hug and didn't get the call, didn't get the flag, and that's where we're off, man. Oh, yeah, man. Marcy, thanks, man. Thanks, Marcy. Good to see you, Marcy. Yeah. Like I said, 6-2 on Thursday night this year, but I am taking no credit for that, because we know how those games go. Like, I feel like it's a win for me if I can just get you guys off betting Thursday night. Now, that might sound like I'm talking delusional because, like I said, 6-2, and we've had a pretty good read on a few of the games. Like, had a very good read. Like, I even said Lions against the Packers would be a money pick if it wasn't on Thursday night. Had a pretty good read on the Jags game. The rest are just like throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping it sticks. I mean, I'm being completely honest. But yeah, man, that was a good game last night, but we've just seen so many problems with the Bills. So let's get to it. Time served. What's up, John? Loving that Patreon. What's up, J-Sop? Got any World Series bets for us, man, like last year? What's up, Jason? Hey, Jason Zabito. Hey, Lawson, I had the Bills -6.5 and lost because Bucs went for the 2-point conversion. I mean, there's not much you can do there, Jason. Like, if I had the Bills at 6.5 in front of me for -110, I would have bet it too. So I'm for it. When I picked the game, it was 8.5, I believe. So, not much you can do about it. But that's why these Thursday night games, we got to be cautious with it. And yes, it's week 8. These are when the good teams start peaking, when we get on to even November. But just be careful this week, man. Just be careful, because we're seeing a lot of inconsistency in the league start. And I was looking at the injury reports this week. I don't know if you guys noticed, man. These teams are more healthy than normal. So that is a good thing. And you would think that would make it more predictable, more stable. But as we saw last week and last night, it isn't that way. So Gennaro Gonzalez, all the best from Mexico, my compadre. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Would love to visit Mexico one day. I always wanted to see Cabo. I was near Juarez one time, but I don't think that counts as the part of Mexico people want me to see. But yeah, Mexico's a good place, man. Good place. Yeah, Brian, I tried to but like I said, Brian, I'm not going to beat my chest about picking Tampa to cover that nasty Thursday night game. What a nasty spread too. And when I saw it was up to like -9 for the Bills, I'm like, oh man. I'm like, oh man. They're not giving any gifts away on Thursday night. I'll tell you that though. Um, so that's where we go. Yeah. So, okay. If I were taking a team to win the series, I would take the D-backs. I mean, that's kind of a shocker. I think the price is overinflated. If the Rangers bats get cold at all during this series, they're in big trouble. The D-backs have a big advantage with pitching mainly in the bullpen. Yeah. Man, bullpen is so damn important in baseball. I would take your word for it. Going to be good. I think I'll watch a few games of that. Okay, here we go. Let's get to some questions. Rate Flyer. I heard offensive stat numbers have been lower this year. Yeah, they have, and I think we've seen better defense than before. But also, if you guys noticed earlier this year, like the first 6 weeks, the refs weren't getting involved as much. I'm sure you can find instances, games, quarters where they were overly involved. But so far this year, up until last week, I felt like the ref performance was better than normal. I'm going to be honest. I felt like it was better than normal. Have you guys heard me come on here and complain about the refs before this week 8? I haven't, man, and I've been quite satisfied with it. It's an imperfect business with part-time refs, so we understand what we're getting served up. But I feel like the more penalties they call, the more it helps the offense, just the way the rules are set. And they've been calling less penalties this year. So we know that is data that's been proven. But when you can throw in those illegal contact calls on 3rd and 17 or 3rd and 21, that keeps offensive drives going, and I think we're going to see more of it. NFL wants offense, and one thing about offense, especially in this day and age of NFL, offense is more consistent than great defense. I mean, because we do see some great defenses come in and put in stinkers, like my Minnesota Vikings beating the 49ers. I mean, Broncos got into the 20s against the damn good Jets defense. But, man, let me transition, man. Jets are getting healthy, man. Jets are getting healthy. Sauce Gardner passed concussion protocol. Reed passed concussion protocol. I am feeling good about that Jets game. I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot, just waiting for people to get in here. But I am feeling good. I am feeling good about the Jets. Gonzalez, thoughts on Raiders? Fire Josh. Yeah, I think Josh McDaniels needs to be fired. Listen, I'm not in the locker room. I'm just guessing. I just don't think he's all that good with people. Like, I don't think he's good at rallying the troops. Like, even a coach like Chuck Pagano back in the day, never a great X's and O's guy, but his teams would always come out and fight. And I think that's the number one thing you want. And I just haven't seen enough fight in this Raiders team since he took over. Also, I question how he evaluates players. But the most important thing that is proven data we can take is look at the way he handled the end of the Steelers game. What was the recent game against the Chargers? There's been 3 games this year where he just completely looked befuddled handling the clock and the situation. I can't remember the specific situations to lay it out, but just go back to that Steelers game, and it happened 2 times after that. Just some really shocking calls, like taking a field goal with 2 minutes left to make it an 8-point lead and doing things like that. I think Josh McDaniels needs to get out. Now, can Davis afford to fire him? That really is the question. We know that's not a money-rich ownership group, and you look at that situation, you look at McDaniels' contract, they're going to be paying him an awful lot, and I can't see him getting another head coaching job. Well, you never know in this fucking league, but who would give Josh McDaniels a head coaching job after watching what happened in Denver? It's actually really, really similar with what happened in Denver. Like, he lost the locker room, players criticizing him publicly. It really is similar to the Denver Broncos experience. And then, he leaves Denver. John Fox comes in there, and they're instantly 4 or 5 wins better. So, Brendan Edwards, I like my Minnesota Vikings this week. I like them. Like, I understand why some of you guys are cautious. On Patreon, there's been a lot of talk. Maybe, the Vikings are a trap game. Listen, I get it. It's the NFL. When the bullets get fired, anything can happen. And we know my Vikings are not the most consistent team in the league. But when I look at this Vikings team, I am excited about how this defense is developing with Brian Flores. And every week it seems to get better. You guys remember when we bet the Bears? Everyone was on the Bears that week, it felt like. And we saw that Vikings defense win the game single-handedly. That Vikings offense did fuck all. Now, if you're a Vikings fan or have watched a lot of the Vikings, that's something we just haven't seen in 3-4 years. The defense completely take over a game. Now, you go in against the Packers. Now, they're getting the Packers after a bye. You can listen. We kind of discussed this 2 weeks ago. The bye week doesn't make that big a difference. The only thing a bye week helps with is getting healthy, and we know the Packers have their share of injuries, but I don't think it changes the dynamics of betting this game. Like, okay, Aaron Jones getting an extra week to get healthy obviously is going to help, but like I said, I don't think it changes the overall dynamic of the game. And when you look at this Vikings team, I just don't see Jordan Love having a good game. And maybe you could get on your psychological chair and say maybe a week off helps Jordan Love. But for me, man, he's seeing ghosts. He really is seeing ghosts. And I know everyone got excited when he pummeled a terrible Bears team week 1. He got me roped into that. Fine. I'll take that. But ever since then, we faded him and we've been rewarded for it. Look at what the Raiders did. Look at what the Falcons did in the second half. And look at what the Lions did. It just seems like every performance from Jordan Love is getting progressively worse. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I know the Lions game was a low point and it was like 4 weeks ago, but it just seems like he gets worse every single game he plays. And that's where I go. Sharp money on Green Bay. Dude, listen, people say sharp money was on the Bills last night. What does that even fucking mean anymore? What does that even mean anymore? It doesn't mean anything anymore. It means fuck all. If you gave me $1 for every winning bet I've placed in the last 5 years where people said, don't bet it, sharp money's on it, I would be a damn millionaire just from that. I'm just sick of the sharp money stuff. I'm like, not trying to burst at you, Rake, love you, Rake, but like, stop. Like, sharp money is us betting the Browns against the Titans when 82% of the public was on the Titans. It just means nothing, and you don't even know if it's sharp money or who's doing it. Like, you just don't know. Listen, I mean, damn, like, yes, there's people who bet loads of money. Yes, there's people who change lines. Like, you don't see me walking around because we changed the line on the Tuesday betting show, like saying, my sharp money moved the line. Oh, like, okay, like, let's calm down. Like, I mean, and then, yeah, so that's one thing, like, I've always been a little bit questionable with, so here we go. Well, our SVP Sports, good question. How is -9 sharp money? Well, I had to read that comment. And I guess people are saying like it opened at 7.5, 8.5, and then it bounced up to 9, 9.5, 10 on some books. Like, I don't know. Like, are they in there when guys are bringing in like 100K bets? Do they even know who the best bettors are in the United States? Like, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I know. Honestly, they don't. Yeah, like Charlie, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I agree with you, man. Yeah, and yeah, John, I don't know about my Vikings running the table. I can't go that far. But for this game, it's looking pretty good. Like, we're going to need to see a good performance out of Jordan Love. And there's not been a lot of evidence that's going to happen. Now, we know Kirk Cousins and the Vikings offense is up and down. And, Addison looked terrible against the Bears, looked really good against the 49ers. So we know the Vikings offense lacks consistency, especially in the run game. But if there is a team to run the ball against, it has to be the Green Bay Packers. Um, Here we go. Yeah, I don't know sport. I don't know if everyone was riding the Lions. I mean, we've been riding the Lions for 2 years, and it's been lucrative. I mean, they're not going to go like 17-0 against the spread in a year. I'm sure there was a lot of money on the Ravens. I'm sure that was about a 50-50 betting distribution, if I had a guess. But yeah, so okay. Yeah, man. Brent. I didn't hear anything about getting Dalvin Cook back. That would be nice. Let's get to the Patreon questions. Great to see everyone in here. Hope everyone's having a great Friday. Prestige. Vikings are unusually low this week. Do we hammer it? Listen, I will probably be betting it. I won't go as far as hammering it because I understand why some people do think it's dangerous. And I understand sports saying like it's flavor of the month. Like, yeah, Minnesota is getting hyped a lot. Everyone was saying we were wrong for betting them against the Bears. Yeah, against a better Packers team, like there's some sort of automatic dunk. Like, I understand what some people are saying, but the Packers need to improve dramatically from what we've seen the last 3 or 4 performances from them. And I'm just not sure it can happen. Like, it's going to be a sweater. It's not going to be easy. But I also, if this is a close game in the fourth quarter, which it probably will be, I trust the Vikings more in those situations. And really, the Vikings' big problem this year has been fumbles. Anyone who's watched their game knows, like, it's not Kirk throwing interceptions, it's not blown coverages, it's fumbles. I think the Vikings lost like 9 or 10 fumbles this year. They're number one in the league. But outside of that, like the Vikings, I trust them more in late game situations. And I think they're cleaning the run game up. So I do like that game. Side note, what's up with the Madden gamer tag? Does your boy get a shot? Yeah, dude, I'm always down to play. My gamer tag on PS5 is Lawson Show. I don't know if a lot of you guys don't have PS5s. Like a lot of you guys had like the Xbox, and when I had the Xbox, you guys had the PlayStation 4. So I'm always down to go in and get a game of Madden, man. I like to play like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Always good to play. Charlie, yeah, Arthur Smith has been puzzling, and I'm not going to even get on him about the Bijan Robinson junk, but his coaching decisions have been puzzling, really puzzling things in specific games. He damn near lost on the Commanders game. Ritter tried to lose down that Bucks game. They probably should have won the Bucks game by 20 points. I mean, the Falcons were just moving the ball up and down the field, and you get the 3 fumbles from Ritter. Arthur Smith isn't doing all that great this year. Like, I feel like he's left Ritter out to dry. And I know Ritter sucks. And I told you before the season started, he was a fucking liability. But at the end of the day, Arthur Smith's got to bear a little bit of fruit for some of these decisions and the way things are going. Luckily, luckily they're in a weak division and they've played weak teams. And the reason why I picked the Falcons to win that division preseason was look at their schedule. Look at their schedule. But I don't think they're automatic this week. I do want to say that. I do want to get that point across. Jesus Gallardo, what underdog are you taking on the money line this week? I like the Rams. Okay, let me if I had to take one underdog on the money line, there are some appealing ones. There are, money line does become a big stretch, but give me the Browns. Listen, I know a lot of you guys like the Seahawks, and I'll be honest, man, I missed out on the Seahawks money train last year. Those of you who were riding the Seahawks last year, like what was it, like week 2 to like week 10? I mean, you guys did very well, like we did with the Lions this year and last year. Like, I understand it. Like, I understand why a lot of you guys are loyal to that team. But I have to go the Browns. Like, if you're just trying to get a big payout, yes, the Rams, because we could always see a Cowboys choke. That's a really good question, Jesus. But the reason why I'm going to go the Browns, I'll go into it, Jesus. Listen, man. Okay. There is something going on with Deshaun Watson. We have another question about that later in Patreon, so I won't go on my rant about him. But from the film I've watched, and I've watched every single Browns play, unfortunately. I mean, I am dedicated to this. You know that. If I'm watching every single Browns play they played this year, I think Walker's been better than Deshaun Watson. Watson had one good game against the Titans. Yes, it was beautiful. He played a great game. It was like the old Deshaun Watson. But outside of that, Walker's been better or just as good. And I don't know if the Seahawks are going to be able to move the ball. And listen, credit to the Colts last week. Who would have thought the Colts would get into the 30s against the best defense in the league? But don't you think that's going to level out a little bit? Like, don't you think this Browns defense comes to play? And one thing this Browns defense continuously does, they don't just get stops. They get sacks and they force turnovers. So this Browns team always has a puncher's chance. I get the calls for the Rams. I'm a little bit tempted by the Bengals too, but I'm worried about a 49ers bounce back situation. I will admit, man, like, the game I've been thinking about most this week is the Bengals 49ers game. And I still haven't came to a conclusion what I want to do. And when you get to that point, I guess you can't bet it, right? So that's where I'm at. Yeah. The Seattle D, I like how the Seattle D looks in the secondary, but I don't think this front's all that good, and they lose their best front rusher, Owusu. I don't know if he's out for the season. Someone can fill me in there on the details. But he's been their best player on the front four. And are they going to be able to stop the run? And that's what they're going to need to do against the Browns. I think we're going to see an old school Browns game plan. And Stefanski has to come up with something. I think it's going to be a good game, man. But yes, the Seahawks are favorites for a reason. What's up? What's up, Ben? Yeah, morning. It's night here. Yeah, man. What's up, Ben? Let's get this money, man. Let's get it, man. Great to see you. Okay, next Patreon question. Chris, Tampa plus 10 and the under was an extremely obvious bet to make. Yeah, Chris, but you type that after the game. If you type that before the game, then that's like a different thing. I'm not coming at you, bro, but everything's obvious after the fact. People were calling me an idiot because the Colts got like 30 points against the Browns. Like, it's easy to call it after the fact, right? We got to try to have a little bit of intellectual honesty. Mike, hey, John, I was wondering why you don't sell merchandise. Well, I wanted to sell this last year. I made a shirt called Bet Gang, and then I have a black one that says money, money. But it doesn't work out. Like, I didn't get anyone interested. I think because all my fan base likes to bet money, not buy shit. But I'm thinking about trying it again because I'm getting back to the United States soon. I'll be back there for 14 days. My problem is shipping it. I'll have to have my mom and dad ship it because living in Brazil, I'm trying to ship it. It creates a bunch of different logistical issues. Also makes the stuff too damn expensive to ship it. Mike Alonso, I've always wanted to go to Houston. I've never been to Texas. I've always wanted to visit Houston, man. So the travel is really expensive nowadays, man. It really does get expensive, but I, let me try to get to Houston this summer, man. I know everyone's saying no, don't go to Houston in August or July, but like the heat doesn't really bother me. Um, yeah, and is Brock Purdy playing this week? And can I give a hot take? Like, I don't think there's a big drop off between Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy. Like, I'm not even criticizing Purdy. Like, I wasn't even one of those people waiting in the wings, ready to pounce on Purdy for one bad performance. But I got to be honest, man. Like, I don't see a big difference between Darnold and Purdy. I don't know, man. This sticks, Lawson. Who has a better chance of winning, Packers or Panthers? Well, the odds say Packers. But I got to go with the Panthers here, man. And listen, they're coming off their bye week. Will that improve their play? Frank Reich won't be making the play calls either. Is that going to improve the offense? We don't know. Maybe not. Could get worse. But I'm a big Houston guy, and I have a pretty good read on Houston. I am a little bit nervous about Houston going into this game. It looks like the Panthers are getting more healthy on defense. I mean, they've been absolutely decimated by injuries this year. I think at one point they had 8 starters on the defense out with some sort of injury. And when you get that type of situation, it's hard to look good. But when I look at this game, I do think the Panthers have a shot to win. I really want to put my money with the Texans because when I've done that, it's been successful for us. I just couldn't pull the trigger this week. So I will go Panthers. And now you asked money line, but when you look at the spread, what is it, 3.5, 4? We don't know if Brian Burns is going to play for the Panthers. But yeah, man, I've had a really good read on the Texans. I know when to target them and stay away. I'm on this Texans bandwagon. I just think this is a dangerous game. I do think this is a dangerous game. And law of averages, the Panthers have to get a win eventually, right? Gennaro Gonzalez, what is your Sunday NFL game watching routine? You concentrate on one game or bounce around? I normally go 3 screens. I go 3 screens. I don't fuck with red zone. I might turn the red zone on at like 3:55 when one game ends, but I try to go 3 screens and pay attention to them as much as possible. And then at 4 o'clock, I'll normally go to 2 screens because we've had so few games on at 4 o'clock the last 3 weeks. So then I'll go to 2 screens for 4 o'clock. And by the time we get to Sunday night, I'm pretty fucking worn out. But I watched the game. But the Sunday night game, like, I don't know why it's like as marquee as it is. Maybe it's because we bet. I mean, we get so fucking stressed out, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, maybe it's because of that. But once I get to the Sunday night game, like I'm done. I'm done. And then I wake up Monday morning and I watch the games I didn't watch. But yeah, man, that's what I do. That's what I do. I try to make a steak. Yeah, so that's what I do. Yeah, I want to see the Ravens get Henry. I just don't know how it's going to work in the salary cap. I think the media is being a little bit irresponsible with some of those rumors. But yeah, I would love to see it. Ace Relay Magic on Patreon. What's up, John? What's up, Ace? Hope you're doing good, my man. Have you ever added a few college football games to your 10-point teaser to increase the payout? Keep the money picks coming. No, I haven't. I haven't. Listen, man, for me, like I said, these NFL teams, I probably watched every snap of every team. Maybe I missed a quarter here and there, but I try to go back and watch every game. So I've seen pretty much every snap these teams take. With college, man, I feel like it would be a full-time job. It's already a full-time job betting the NFL and the little soccer I do bet. I just don't think I would do a quality job at college football. And honestly, I think you guys would have a better read on college football than me. Like back when I was like 15, 16, when you used to get the parlay tickets, you could even do single bets on the tickets, like the bookie would bring you. I would normally do like a 5-team parlay against the spread. I'll go 2 college, 3 NFL. But that's when I watched college football like an addict. Like I'd go to football practice at 8 a.m., come home at like 10:30 a.m., and then I would just sit my fat ass in front of the TV from 11 to 1 o'clock in the morning and finish watching like Hawaii against Washington State. I can't do that now. So like, I feel like I have to go full bore into something if I do it. I can't do something half-ass. I do sometimes follow you guys on Patreon if you give me a college football suggestion, but it's because there's some people I trust. So I would really need to trust someone. But yeah, I do think college football is good. Like I've watched a few games this year. I've been enjoying watching Deion. I've been enjoying watching it. I didn't enjoy watching him blow the lead to Stanford. I do like watching Alabama from time to time. So, I watch Syracuse a lot. But other than that, like I'm not watching like 10 games a day. Okay, Patreon question. Dave FX, what's up, Dave? Which underdog money pick do you think has the best chance to win outright this Sunday? Thanks, Lawson. Appreciate you. Yeah, between the Browns and Rams, I'm going Browns, Dave. I went into it a little bit before, but I trust this Browns defense. And with the Rams, I've been concerned with some of McVay's in-game decisions. I know we got screwed last week on that last big call of the game by the refs with Pickett. He was obviously down before the first down marker, but I was still really, really concerned with some of the things I've seen from McVay. And sometimes I feel like McVay's playing to cover the spread more than he's playing to win the fucking game outright. Cincinnati game, a 49er game, I can go on and on. So I would go with the Browns, man, and I feel like the Browns need a response this week. That was not pretty against the Colts. And I think that defense will have something, and I'm not sure P.J. Walker is any worse than Deshaun Watson at this point in time. And it pains me to say that. It pains me to say that. Quat, are you still confident in Miami to cover the spread with all the injuries they had on the injury report this week? Mostert, Hill, and Waddle all a little bit banged up. Well, let's go look at the final injury report because I did see Mostert will play. I believe Hill practiced Thursday. Let's go see the final injury report. Okay, let's get to Mostert's questionable. He said he'll play. I mean, they're getting Jalen Ramsey back. I don't think he's going to play more than 15 plays, but I think it will help. I'm worried about Javon Holland not playing, but all those guys, I'm not worried about. As long as Jalen Waddle can play and assist Tyreek the Thrill Hill, I'm confident. I just get worried when you play the Patriots. Bill Belichick does one thing good at this point. He knows how to take the number one receiver out of the game. Like we've still seen Tyreek Hill have decent games against them, but they're not like the 160, 180 explosions we've seen in the past. But I feel like you add Waddle to the mix, and I feel like that's just too much for the Patriots to cover. And I am worried about this Patriots secondary. They've had a lot of injuries this year, and it seems like Miami does good in these situations. Below average team, Dolphins get them at home. Dolphins are going to blow them the fuck out. And it just seems that's what they're good at and what they do. I was disappointed with how they played against the Eagles. Let's be real about it. I was disappointed. 7-8 quarterback sneaks. But this is the Dolphins in their environment. At home, in the heat, against a below-average team. Give me the Dolphins by 2 touchdowns, man. Give me the Dolphins by 2 touchdowns. I don't like betting those, but I think it's one we seriously have to consider. I mean, we've been right about every big spread Dolphins game. We're right about the Panthers. We're right about the Giants, and this is another one of those situations. 513 Trader, what do you think about the line movement on the Bengals spread? Well, I think some of it was maybe bettors getting nervous. Maybe money coming on the Bengals because Sam Darnold might play. But then I kicked back up to 4.5, 4. And I think it's people thinking, okay, like this Shanahan offense is bulletproof. You know, we've seen Jimmy G win 13 games with this Shanahan offense. And how bad can Sam Darnold really be? And that's where I'm at. And the 49ers are really banged up, man. Like they don't have any. I think Ayuk's going to play, correct? Can someone fact check me on that? Like, but listen to this injury report. Like Trent Williams is on the injury report. Deebo Samuel's is out of the game. Purdy's banged up. Ayuk is banged up. I believe Ayuk will be playing. And then like Cincy, they got the bye week and they're coming in pretty healthy, man. And I think that's about the only thing the bye week's worth at this point, getting healthy. And I think that's where it's at. But I do think this game has some people puzzled. Like for me, like I said earlier, my man, like I said earlier, like this is the game I've been thinking about the most all week. Like honestly, I've been thinking about this game the most. And I'm just at a fucking standstill in my brain. Because every time people have told us the Bengals aren't going to win, you know, remember when everyone said we were idiots for betting them against the Cardinals? They said we were idiots for betting them against the Seahawks. They came out and played. And like I said, the bye week at the right time. This Bengals team is fresh, man. Now we know they've lacked rhythm. We know they've lacked rhythm on offense. And you always worry about that. And I think maybe that's why some of the line movement as well. Like, what are we seeing out of Burrow? I got to tell you, one thing that made my decision easy for that Seahawks bet against the Bengals was when I saw Burrow in practice throwing off one leg. And when I saw him against the Cardinals do a spinning Rooney and slang it 60 yards. So that was the type of thing that gave me the confidence. That's the only thing I can ponder. Are leaning towards a go. I don't know. Like, I will just caution people about like thinking Purdy will go because they did change the concussion protocol this year and they made it harder. It seems like everyone who gets a concussion seems to miss one game and then they're cleared Wednesday of the next week. And then the timing of Brock Purdy's concussion when he went on the concussion protocol list was strange this week. Normally it happens on Monday or after the game. Didn't it happen on like a fucking Wednesday afternoon? You know, when I see injuries happen on Wednesday afternoon, I always get cautious. I'm like, okay, fuck, we're in trouble now. That's what I think. That I have no idea. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. Ayuk being in is big, but maybe the 49ers are missing Deebo Samuel and maybe no one's fucking talking about it. And I'll just say something to 49ers bettors. If you're not comfortable with Sam Darnold playing quarterback instead of Purdy, you probably shouldn't be betting this game. You understand what I'm saying? No, it's Diet Coke. It's Diet Coke. It's Diet Pepsi, actually. What's up, C. James? What's up, EQ? What's up, The Sticks? She's just brought me, C. James, she's just brought me my Diet Pepsi. What's up, Dominique? What's up, man? What's up? Yeah, she's brought me some Diet Pepsi, so appreciate it. Lino Frosto. Yo, what's good, Playboy? How's the fam doing? We're doing good, man. Just a lot of negative stuff this week. Like, not even talking about like the YouTube page and NFL. It's just like a lot of negative stuff this week that just bothers me, man. But there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. How long do you think my Bears will keep Forrest Gumping their way to these wins? I think they could fucking beat the Chargers, bro. As crazy as that sounds, Don't get me wrong, the Bears are recouping some of my preseason bets. Also, do you think the Lions will fall flat like the 49ers? The Ravens had them queefing last week. Who gets Buttgate this week? Okay. Okay. So let's get to the Lions. Now, it looks like Jimmy G's going to play. And I understand what you're saying about the emotion, about the emotional toll, what the Ravens did to the Lions last week. Like, we understand that was complete thrashing. They got daddy, their son, whatever word you want to talk about. They went to, they went to the woodshed and they got dead, man. They weren't doing the hammering. They were receiving the hammering. But, it is good to get the Raiders at home on Monday Night Football when you come off of that. And this Raiders team, this Raiders defense has been better than advertised this whole damn year. It's just a problem with the Raiders. That offense stinks. They always seem to find a way to turn the ball over 2 times. Every time Jimmy G plays, like he misses Devontae Adams 3 or 4 times, and a lot of those misses result in easy interceptions. I just think this is a good get-right spot for the Lions. And you guys know I don't like the -7.5, the -8. You guys know I don't like betting those. I will bet them if I need to. And think the Lions against the Raiders could be a play this week. I do. It goes against the fundamentals, but I think it could be a play, even though I really respect this Raiders defense. Now, we got to see the health of the Lions, man. And I do think maybe against the Ravens team, they just fell flat, man. They just fell flat, and they did lack a little bit of emotion. But I think it'll serve more as a wake-up call for them. I don't think they fall flat. Like, I don't think the Lions are going to win like 13 games or anything, but I think they get to the 11 win mark, maybe 12 if things keep going well. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. And about the Bears, like, listen, man, if they had Fields in this Chargers game, I think they could win the game. Now, it is a bit of a bet when you're relying on, like, Tyson Bagent and Peterman. Like, I just think that's too much to overcome. But you talk about a team that's spiraling out of control, that is turning into an absolute train crash. Has to be the Chargers, right? Has to be the Chargers. Lauren, I like the Saints this week, too. Man. And everyone knows, like, I don't think I picked the Saints to cover spread this whole year. But if they don't cover this one, Dennis Allen has to be on the hot seat if they don't perform better, man. I mean, you're not cutting Carr. And I understand Carmichael, the offense coordinator, is a big problem, but at the end of the day, like, this is a Dennis Allen stagnation problem. They were stagnant last year. They're stagnant this year. They got to cover it, man. Dude, Indiana guy, I agree about Darnold with the 49ers. Like, Michael Mann came on here and said, like, listen, like, remember last year he said, like, listen, if Darnold gets to the Panthers, like, if Darnold goes to the Panthers, the 49ers, I think that's a great spot for him. And I don't know if the drop-off's going to be all that high, to be honest. And I'm not even a Purdy basher, man. Yeah, I'm not even a Purdy basher. I know I know what you're saying. Darnold is a reliable quarterback. But can we just turn the framing a little bit? Can we turn the television a little bit? Listen, Jimmy G pretty much plays the same with the Raiders, who actually have better weapons than any squad Darnold's played on. Devontae Adams, the receiver, another good receiver, 2 decent tight ends, a good running back. Listen, Jimmy G's the same way. But when he was with San Francisco, he was putting in above average quarterback performances. Were we a fan? No. But were they winning? Would he put up some good games? Yeah. So, listen, Sam Darnold is limited. Would I want to go to battle with Sam Darnold? Hell no. No, of course not. But when you get to backup quarterbacks in this league, when your starting dude is the last draft pick in the NFL, you're not in the best position to get choosy. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And we've seen Sam Darnold choke mentally. So we've seen that. I get what you're saying. And this is a big game, man. This Bengals team is coming in hard. And everyone thought the Bengals would give up, man. But they're coming in hard, and, that defense is missing Jesse Bates a lot. They're missing Von Bell a lot. But they're coming in hard, man, and you're not going to be able to run the ball for 150, 170 on them like some people are saying. They're going to make you work for everything. So I do think we see a little bit of pressure applied to Sam Darnold, and he will need to make plays. Sam Darnold or P.J. Walker, I would take Darnold. Walker's pretty bad, man. But he does have the scrambling variation. And I do think the Browns have had some good play calling this year. Even though I'm not a Stefanski guy, I do think he's had some really good game plans that have helped Walker. Dude, C. James, these fights in the crowd in the NFL are crazy. And they all seem to happen in California. I went to Ralph Wilson Stadium, which obviously has the most drunks, most people who were screwed up. I went to probably about 20, 25 Bills games throughout my whole life, because it was the closest to my house and I would like to go watch some ball. But it seems like all the fights happen in California, which is weird. Yeah. But whenever we're devolving the convo to Sam Darnold versus P.J. Walker, things aren't good, man. Some teams are in desperate situations. The Hound! What's up, Hound? Yo, Lawson, hope all is well. I got smoked last weekend like everyone else. Tell me about it. Want to hear your thoughts on the Niners, especially Nick Bosa. He's been underperforming all season after signing that huge contract. 2.5 sacks, not winning enough one-on-ones. I think they might take another L this weekend. I do too. And it's not even about the Purdy Darnold thing. It's not really about that. It's like you guys have used the word stagnation. It does feel like the 49ers have kind of hit that proverbial wall. And we've seen teams hit the wall before, and lose 2 or 3 straight games and still get their 12, 13 wins. And they're still Super Bowl contenders once it gets to December and January. There's no reason to panic. But I agree with you. And it seems like every week this Bengals offensive line gets better. Now, you remember against the Titans, Bengals put up, 3 points? Burrow was hit 10, 12 times in that game. It was an absolute chaos back there in Joe Burrow's vision. But, man, it just seems like the Bengals are slowly getting better, and they're peaking in the right direction. We can't say that about the 49ers. And I did hear Burrow giving an excuse, saying, I was out of training camp. I didn't get the correct reps in training camp. And he's using that as an excuse. And I don't know. I'm not really buying it. And he's played some really bad right tackles this year as well. So you would think he would be able to win one-on-one battles. I've been seeing everyone tear up Brian O'Neill and the right side of the Vikings offensive line. Yet he goes quiet. Yeah, so here we go, man. Here we go. But Hound, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. It's just, how much do we want to push the fucking envelope? I guess that's really the question. A kid named Coop. What's up, Lawson? Hope you're doing well. What's up, Coop? Question about Deshaun Watson. Are you convinced so far this season he's stealing money from the Browns? His situation is puzzling, to say the least, with that top 5 defense keeping that team above 500 right now. Yeah, cool. He's stealing money, man. And, I got to come on here and eat a little bit of crow. Like, I understood why the Browns made this colossal bet on Deshaun Watson. But this guy, I think Deshaun Watson's a fucking weirdo. Like, I really do. And we saw it. Remember when I came out here and talked about it 3 weeks ago where, it's just something seems off, him and Stefanski. There were reports the players were mad. He sat out the Ravens game. They felt snowballed and surprised. And remember, when on Friday before that Ravens game, he's saying, I'm playing, guys. I'm playing. Doctors clear him. He doesn't go out there. And then he gets a bye week. He finally goes out there against the Colts. And he looked terrible that game. He did so much damage in that game. He only had like 12 plays, but he did so much damage in that game to our Browns minus 3.5. It's about as much damage you can do with 12 plays. I feel like he's sandbagging people. And I don't understand the play coup. Like, you remember when he was sandbagging Houston to get out of there? Like, what was it, like 4 months after they gave him this handsome contract? Like, what is the play for Deshaun Watson? Like, listen, he's got like a guaranteed contract. I mean, who in God's name would take that contract on, even for like a 7th round pick or a conditional draft pick? Who would be crazy enough to take that on? Just talking from a football perspective, not even getting to some of like the personal stuff. And people are really bothered by Deshaun Watson, and we know why. I don't let that stuff get into my purview when I talk about football, but I do like it's a bad showing, man. It's a bad showing. It's a really bad showing, and it's really poor, man. It's really poor. Something's wrong with him, man. And he let his teammates down. And listen, Kevin Stefanski fought with Baker Mayfield before. Like, we've seen this story before. But I'm not giving Deshaun Watson a benefit of the doubt for this. Yeah, man. Kima, hey, Lawson, let's get this money. I've been a member for 2 months now, and I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Kima, for joining on Patreon. I really appreciate it, man. If you had to put a big chunk of chips on one game this Sunday, which one would it be? I'll write it. You can read my comment down below. But yeah, and I'll make that clear when I post the bets, which one is my favorite. I've been pretty good about that this year. I didn't do it last week, but throughout the whole season, I've been saying which one is my favorite, and we've been good on those. We're like 4-1 when I market a favorite on those games. So I feel like we got some good options this week. Not a volume of options, not like 6, 7 good ones, but I feel like we have 3 or 4 ones that are pretty enticing. Charles Kaiser, what's up, Charles? Titans birds, are they dirty birds this Sunday? I'm worried about the Falcons. Listen, it turned into a no bet from me. Like, I understand we all want to fade Will Levis, but I am worried about some of the stuff I've been seeing from the Falcons. Even when we picked the Falcons last week against Tampa, 3 fumbles from Ritter in the red zone just wasn't acceptable. And I do feel like Arthur Smith is making some weird decisions. Like, I'm not talking about the usage of Bijan Robinson. I do feel like he is leaving Desmond Ritter out to dry, and they just can't seem to utilize Kyle Pitts in a consistent and prolific fashion like they need to. And this does seem like a spot where the Titans win an ugly game and win the turnover battle. I'm not changing my pick. I still would go Falcons if you told me my life was on the line, but I'm not feeling as good about it as I did on Tuesday. I didn't. I don't believe I made a money pick on Tuesday. No, I didn't. But I did tell you guys, like, I liked it. But the more I think about it, the more I'm liking it less. And a lot of that's due to some of the stuff I've seen out of Arthur Smith this year. Charles Kaiser, do we take the Cards as 10-point home dogs against the Ravens? Analytics says yes. Also, fundamental betting says yes. It's not a path I like to cross, but you guys know I will take the points if I need to. Now Kyler Murray's not playing. It does seem like the Cardinals are starting to fade as the year goes on, but they played pretty much every game close this whole year. Even against the Bengals, when the Bengals pulled away, I mean, that Cardinals team was around and snipping in that game. I do wonder, man. Maybe I'm just completely off about the Ravens, but I do wonder if we see like kind of like a fall off performance from the Ravens, where there's just like not all that interested. Cardinals keep it close. Maybe Cardinals backdoor cover it. I wouldn't bet it though. I would not bet it. Brian DePaul, happy Friday, Lawson Nation. Let's get that bounce back. Still high on the Saints, even though they're showing dysfunction. Concerned about the psychology in that locker room. Thanks, Money Man. What's up, Brian? Yeah, but can I frame it a different way? I actually think it's good we've seen some dysfunction and we've seen people getting angry in that locker room. Like I think it's a net positive. I'm not getting angry about it because the performances have been absolutely pathetic. And when you lay some of the eggs that the Saints have laid this year, you need to see a reaction. You need to see some anger. And this offense has been the big issue. The Saints defense has been as good as advertised, let's be honest. And this Saints offense continuously leaves them in bad positions. But when I look at this team, the Saints offense needs to throw the ball down the field. And I'm not saying just chuck it deep, but there needs to be 3 or 4 shots down the field so they can get some of the underneath stuff. So I do think they needed like a kumbaya moment. I do think they needed a little bit of yelling. Well, it wasn't a kumbaya moment, but they did need a little bit of a fractious moment where, they should say this has been shit, man. And it's been garbage and it hasn't been good enough. So I think it's a net positive, Brian, but I think it kind of portrays what we've been seeing this whole year. They just haven't been good enough on offense. And Pete Carmichael, he's been one of the worst offensive coordinators in this league. I don't think I'm off saying that. I do like this Mark Andrews anytime touchdown. Alex, I like the Saints this week. Jags game. Let's look at what it's at now. I know. I'm just staying away from Steelers games from this moment on. Just staying away from them. But I understand your temptation, my friend. I understand it completely. Dan, hey Lawson, do you like Tottenham today minus 125? Are you talking about did they play today? Let me see. Yeah, they played today. My bad. I didn't see it in time. I did see they beat Crystal Palace. Soccer bets coming tonight on Patreon, 2-0 last week. Listen, the soccer bets are going to be good. I'm telling you right now. I'm like Azul. I'm liking Tank Dell's props as well. I do think he's playing very, very good ball, coming in fresh this game. And Carolina hasn't covered anyone this year. They just can't cover. And I think we're going to continuously see Stroud get better. And at least with Stroud, he's not going to have a terrible game where he doesn't show up. Like, he's going to show up. Is he going to be prolific? No, probably not. But he's going to show up and give a consistent performance. That's why I like to take down player props as well. Charlie, I bet I do bet Brazil, but at this time of the year I lay off of that. I bet like English Championship, League One, and League Two. Sometimes the Premier League, but I try to get stuff where there's less action, because sometimes you guys see with the NFL, when there's so much action on something, it makes the payouts weaker. Maybe it could change calls. You guys know how that goes. Okay, Daryl Hall going to New England with the upset. What's up, Daryl? Yo, Daryl, what kind of dog you got, man? What kind of dog you got? Um, I do some of my best thinking when I'm walking my dog. Every better should have a dog they can walk. Juicy Purser. I like Vikings -1.5, Dolphins -9.5, and Jets -3s. Any reason I should bet the other way on any of these? No, Juicy. I think you're on the right track, my friend. I think you are on the right track. One of those games we got in early before the spread moved. So hopefully you got it in early when I posted it. G Money, what's your take on Bears and Chargers? This is from Isso. G Money, what's your take on the Bears Chargers? Will the Bears cover this game? I'm a Bears fan, but I hate betting my team. Listen, man, I think the Bears cover the game. I don't want to bet this, though. But this Bears defense has played better in the last 3 weeks. We got to give them some credit. And that's a big reason why I think the Bears cover. I just think this is like a no-go zone. I think the game is too damn dangerous. So yeah, I'm not going there. I'm not telling anyone to bet the Bears, but if you gave me a choice, Chargers with the -8, Bears with the +8, I'm going Bears. And this Bears team has responded since those first rocky weeks. Derek, hey, bro, which 2 games would you knock off this 7-point teaser, if any? Dallas +1. Let me think about it. Miami -2.5. Keep Miami. Philly, pick 'em. Let me think about it. Baltimore -2.5. KC +0. Chargers -1.5. Detroit -1. I would take Dallas off of there. I would go Miami, Philly, Baltimore, KC, Detroit. I would take the Chargers and Dallas off of there. Chargers at -1.5 should be good. Dallas +1 should be good, but let's not even roll the dice, my friend. Let's not even roll the dice. So yeah, man. So yeah, man. That's where I'm at, guys. I gotta go early tonight. We'll get the callers on. We'll get the callers on next week. I actually don't. I have like a Schnauzer mix, but I have seen those dogs, and they're they're stronger than pit bulls, man. They're stronger. Yeah, leave a thumbs up. Thank you, Azul. And Josh, I don't bet NBA. I can stay for like 5 more minutes. Just go down the show a little bit earlier tonight. We'll get Lauren and Michael on next week. Hope everyone's doing good, man. Josh, if I had to do like a 2-team teaser, I'd probably tease down Miami, and I would tease down Miami, and I would probably go Eagles in a pick-up. Yeah, Miami Eagles. If you're talking 6-7 point teaser, I think that was. Dude, I love Dobermans, man. Very, very good dogs. Very, very underrated dogs as well. I'll put up on my Instagram. I'll put up a photo of my dog. Patreon bets will be up 10 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Let's get this money. Great to see all of you.